Hello to everyone and welcome to the YouTube channel School for All. If you are discovering this channel through this video, I'm called Paula Eve, the computer science and ICT teacher and the CEO of School for All. This is tutorial number 15 of our training under C programming. Now, in the previous tutorial, we studied switch statement, how to use the switch statement. Very interesting. So I've explained the structure, and I think we carry out an example under switch statement. So the aim of this tutorial is to carry out another example under switch statement because it's very important to master how this works. You'll be using it in fact in your various program. Now, so if you're discovering School for All, there is a mobile app available on Play Store and App Store. Just go and type School for All app, or you just type School for All and you download the app. You access so many interesting content. Now, so we continue. So the next exercise that we are planning to do is, or before going there, let me just recall the last exercise we did together. So in the last exercise, we did a program where we are displaying days of the week based on the number entered by a user. Meaning what? If the user entered day 1, it's going to match what? Case 1, and in this case we display Monday. If the user enter day 2, in this case going to match by the second case, and Tuesday will be displayed. So I'm just repeating myself. With switch case, we are comparing equality. Good. By the time you are comparing something in an interval, or by the time you are comparing something like greater than, less than, and so on and so forth, you are no more using the switch statement. Take note of things like that. And remember the structure, that after the case you have the value, and the value that you are having is what you are comparing with what is inside your variable. That is why you see when you are using switch case, you must always take a variable from the user first. It can be from the user, or I don't know, it depends on the type of program you are writing. But you must always have a variable that will contain a value, and that variable is what you are passing inside your switch. Now the type of value that can be inside that your variable is the different values that you are precising at the level of what? Of the cases. Take note of things like that. Now, I want us to write another program. Listen to the question very well. I'm not sure I'm going to write this. I think I have it somewhere here. Good. Now, this time around, I want us to write a program where if a student enter his mark and the mark is 90, we display the student have A grade. If the student enter his mark and the mark is 80, we display the student have B grade. 70, we display C grade. 60, we display G, and else, meaning anything out of G, we are displaying F. It's true that a student will ask me that even if a student enter 100, it will display F and so on. Yes, that's why I'm saying that we are just answering a question. It's not as if you will start asking yourself question, go too far and so on. No, you are just answering to a question. If the question is telling you that 90 display A grade, 80 display B grade, 70 display C, 60 display D, just do it like that. Don't go and change the question. We can still modify in such a way that it's but 100 that display A, 90 display this, and so on and so forth. But seeing it just a simple exercise, let us leave it like that. Now we have different ways of doing this. In fact, let us write this code from 0 as usual. I'm always writing my code from 0 because I want to show you people how to think when you are writing a program, because copying a program is not helping you, especially computer science student. It's not helping you at all. You need to think like a program, and this is exactly the value I'm bringing in my videos. In fact, showing you how to think when you're writing a code. Now, so here I'm using dev C++ as usual. So I just click on file, new source file. Now here, the first library hashtag include. Here we are sure. So this library is obligatory in all your C program, because with this library we can access input and output function, and one output function that we are always using is printf. Printf is used to display an output, and characteristic of an algorithm, a good algorithm will display at least one output. So you cannot be writing a program that is not displaying something, meaning you cannot be writing a program where you are not using a printf. Now we start in min. So remember that when you are writing your program, always start with the basic structure like this. This is the basic structure of the C program. Start by doing this before doing any other thing. It's so that by the moment we will study function together, you will see something else. But for the moment, please, when you're writing your code, always start like this. Before anything you're doing it inside. Now, after doing this, the next question I ask myself, what am I trying to write? I'm trying to write a program that will collect a mark from a user. And collecting a mark from a user, this is already an input. And if I'm collecting an input from a user, I need a variable to store that input. Now, since the mark that we are collecting here, we are considering that they're integers, it simply means what? That you declare a variable mark of type what? Of type integer. Mark. If you want to write mark, there's no point, just a variable. Nice. So I've declared my variable. The next thing is I need my printf to ask the user enter your mark. You remember the role of /n. I'm putting /n so that nothing should follow this sentence when we are printing. Meaning after this sentence is being displayed, nothing should follow. The next thing that should be displayed should be under. So I've explained the role of a /n already. Very nice. So each instruction in C programming ends with a semicolon. Now, after writing this message, the next thing is you cannot be writing this message without writing a scanf. So this is just a message. This is just a message is all. So this is just an instruction that displays a message. This is the whole of printf. Good. Now scanf is the instruction that we allow the user, or let me say that we permit the user to press something on the keyboard so that that thing should enter in a variable what? Mark. Because as I'm always telling my students, when you are declaring a variable, what you are doing is, like I've declared a variable mark there. So it means that I'm here. I've just reserved a space in, let us say this is my memory here. I've reserved a space in a memory called mark, and it's empty. It's empty. So it's the scanf that we put something inside this location now. So this is what we are doing. So always understand what you are doing when you're writing your C program. Very important. Now scanf. So I'm coming here. Remember the structure. So format specifier is what? %G, since we are collecting an integer, comma. Remember that here is input, so you precise the address of the variable. Very important. So for scanf, you always use this symbol button. I've explained the role of this symbol in so many of my tutorials. So please make sure you are really following this C programming training session from video number 1. Good. So yeah, this symbol is only used with the scanf, and there's an exception. The exception is when you're using string. So we are going to study this by the moment we'll be studying arrays together. But for now, just know that for integer, for character, and float, you always use this symbol when you are doing your scanf beside your variable to indicate the address. It's as if you are going to someone, you need the address of the door of the person. From that address, you enter in the exact door. It's the same thing. My memory is having different locations. You see, here I'm just drawing one location, but we have multiple locations. So it means that each time you are storing something, you must precise the address of the location where you are trying to store that thing. So this is what happened. But you realize that in previous tutorial for printf, when we are displaying now the content of the memory, we are no more putting address beside the variable, because displaying content simply means that you are already inside the memory and you are taking the thing to display. So take note of things like that. Now we continue. So here I'm okay, and I'm always telling my students that when you are writing your code, test it gradually before you move, in case you know what you are doing. But when you don't know what you are doing, just write your code, because you'll be wasting your time testing it. It's not working and you don't finish your code. So like here, let me just run this. So I click on compile and run. They're asking me to save. Oh, I even did a mistake. I'm always telling my students that when you create a new file, always save before even writing your program. Please remember good manners. So I go to file, save as. Now desktop. Remember that we created a folder called with the desktop called C programming. Okay. Let me just call it example 2 switch case. So remember that after giving the name, always come to save as type. You click on this drop down button, you choose what? Save source file. Never forget this, please. You click on save to be sure that you're having a C file and not a C++. Now let me just execute it again. Now you see here I have my message, enter your mark, and I'm able to enter a mark. If I enter a mark, the program stops directly, and it's okay because it's exactly what the program is doing for now. Nice. So we go down to the switch. So here I'm going to write switch. Now remember the switch take what in parameter? The variable. So I take my variable, I write it here. Good. Now I open my switch. Now, inside this switch, now you start with a different case. Case. Now, you ask yourself, what are the values that you're supposed to have for each case? Remember that max here, this variable max here takes integer. So the type of value that you're having here should be integer. So I'm going to say the first integer, if the mark is 90, you put your 2 dot. Always remember the syntax. What are you doing? If it's 90, you want to display print. You want to print what? A grade. This is what you want to print. You put your /n. Okay, nice. Semicolon. It's all. And remember that at the end of each case, always put what? Your break. Sorry, I've explained the use of break in the previous tutorial. I'm done with that case. I go to case 2. The next case, in fact, here now the mark that I'm comparing is HE. Good. And I'm doing this exercise to tell students, because in my previous tutorial I was saying it, that some students think that at the level of this case we always have case 1, case 2, case 3. No. Remember that what is following after the case is the value that you are comparing. In my own case, I'm comparing 90, then I compare 80. Now, so this is a good manner here. Since the next instruction I'm writing is similar to this one, let me just copy it. So I think copying something like this, you know how to do it. You paste it here. This time around, you are displaying what? B grade. Okay. Then you break. The next comparison, I'm comparing case. Which case again? We say 60. Yeah, I say 60. Now for 60, I display C grade. Let me just leave it like that. Let us say else. Anything else now is F grade. Now, what happens here? Or let's say G grade. Anything else. Now, remember that when you are done with your different cases, the last thing that must follow is what? Default. Default simply means that if the value the user is entering is not falling among all these cases, what should be displayed is what you are precising at the level of default. And this is the syntax of default. Just write default, 2 dot, and you write under directly. And here, what I'm trying to do is to write D grade. Correct? So this is all what the program is doing. After doing that, my switch is already closed. Always check. This is very, very important. My switch is closed. That's why when you open a brace, the advantage of this software is that it closes it directly. So, and when the thing closes it directly, just write in between so that at the end you don't forget to close it. So we are done with this one. Nice, very, very nice. Now let us test this program. So Control S to save. Remember that to save, look at this star. By the moment you see this star beside the name, it simply means that you have not saved the new content you have written inside. Just do your Control S and the star disappears. It means that I've saved my program. If Control S is not working, and it's a good indication to be sure that you have saved. Because imagine that you do Control S and the star is still there. It simply means that that command Control S is not working in your computer. In that case, just come here and you do it manually. File, you click on save. You see, yeah, I cannot click on save because I've saved it already. Nice. So you come here, compile and run. Let us test it. Imagine that I enter 90. I'm expecting what? A grade. Perfect. You see, good. You can re-execute it again. Imagine that you enter something like 50. Normally you're expecting what? J grade. Correct. So everything is working perfectly. Now I want to optimize this program. You realize something, that for each case we are writing the function printf. Imagine that you have 50 cases. You write printf 50 times. So you are seeing that it's not very, very nice. So to optimize this program in such a way that it's displaying exactly the same thing, this is what you will do. You come, you analyze. You analyze that here when you are using printf. What happened is you are displaying something like A grade, yeah, B grade, C grade. So what is changing inside this printf is just what? The letter of the grade. You see, meaning here A, B, C. So I can really think that, okay, if I save this letter in a variable of type character in such a way that I'm just going to use one printf that display what is inside that variable. Meaning what? Let me just show you something. If I come here, I declare something like this, char. Let me just call it grade. Yeah, a variable called grade. Nice. So the aim of this variable is to store a character. It can be A, B, C, or so on and so on and so forth. In such a way that I'm going to remove this thing. If you are falling under case 90, the variable grade should take the value. Remember that when you are affecting something to a character, you put single quote. You remember, you should take the character what? A, like this. Now the same thing here. If the thing is 80, grade is taken by the value B. Nice. If it is 60, grade takes by the value C. If it is default, meaning not among these cases, grade should take the value G. Correct. Now, after the switch, what are we doing? We are now writing our single printf to display what we are expecting. And this is how you do so. You open this. So generally, what are you expecting? You are expecting a grade here. It can be A, B, or C. Since you are expecting a grade, and a grade, where is your grade? Your grade is in your variable called what? Called grade. Remember that you declare a variable grade here. Declaring a variable grade simply means that, let me just come back here. Simply means that you have reserved another space in the memory, and that space is called what? It's called grade. So what you are trying to do is you are just trying to take the content of this memory to display each time. This is all what you are doing. And remember that you display the content of a variable. What are we doing? We precise the format specifier. And this time around, the content of grade is a character. The format specifier is what? Percentage C. So this is what you are doing here. Now, and after this grade, after the letter of the grade, what are you expecting? I'm expecting a dash. After the dash, I'm expecting something like grade. This is exactly what we have. In such a way that if the grade is maybe A, you have A here, then you have dash, you have grade. Very nice. So remember, after doing that, you come out of the double quote, you put your comma, and you precise now the variable that you are displaying. Good. So the variable here is what? Grade. So I'm just making reference to this. And remember that this is what? A printf. That is why here I'm not putting what? I'm not putting address. You see? Good. Because the grade contains values already in the memory. I'm just taking the value to display. It's not like the scanf where the memory is empty. You are searching to put something. So take note of things like that. I just end with my semicolon. Nice. Control S, I've saved. If I execute the same behavior, if I enter 90, you will still see the A grade. You see A grade. Exactly what we are expecting. So just to tell you that you can play with all these things. By the moment you are understanding how they work, you can really manipulate it the way you want, and so on and so forth. So I think I'm clear with this program. Very nice exercise. Let me just come back to the note. Now, so this document is available on School for All platform, and it's also available on School for All mobile application. So if you're not seeing it on the School for All platform, you just search on Google School for All, you'll see it. If you don't see the note on the platform, just know that it's available on the mobile application. Now, advice for students. Now, the advice here is use if else when you have ranges or conditions, like yeah, this is just a small example, like rate from this to this. Yeah, it's exactly what I was explaining. Imagine that you have another exercise where they say display A grade if the mark is between 100 and 90. So you're already seeing that here we are comparing something in a range. We cannot use again switch statement because we are no more comparing equality, but we are comparing something in a range. In that case, we are using by the if else. Take note. Now, yeah, the second point, switch. Use switch when you have exact value. I've explained that already, like menu choice, days of the week, and so on. So I'm going to take another exercise still under this switch case. I want us to solve multiple different situations. Let me say it like that, so that you get used to all these things. So next, the next tutorial, you are going to carry out this exercise together. And after this exercise, you have your own assignment. This is your assignment down here. Good, but I want us to solve this type of exercise first. This is something new. Okay, so if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a positive comment so that let me just see all the students that are really following this training. Ciao.